Dan and Corey here, welcoming you into Libservative.
The great fundamental issue now before our people. We, the people, cannot turn back.
Yeah, welcome in to another rousing rendition of Libservative, intellectual idiots fostering political and cultural literacy. Bell the body snatcher on the ones and twos. He, as always, is Corey Walsh.
He's Dan Griffin.
I am coming to this show with a ton of energy, and I don't even know why. Wasn't the caffeine? It was
we lack
definitely
in
beer.
substance, we're gonna make up in grandeur.
That's right. Breaking news, as Bell said right before we started the show, what is this, 34 minutes ago, Bell? Trump officially signs an executive order to shut down the Department of Education. I wasn't going to start the show that way, but I just didn't know where else to go. I feel like
it's going to be another activist judge that shuts it down, brother.
I feel like that was just what we needed to do. I'm not going to lie, dude. I love it. It's not going to go through. There's 100%. This is 100% going to get shut down by the courts.
Oh,
but yeah,
100%. Just like
the Department
almost fucking everything else has.
The Department of Education is garbage, as
like,
we know.
Like everything's getting shut down. And now the Republicans are pulling the Democratic card, like they were about Clarence Thomas, saying these judges need to be impeached.
That is why we do this show, Corey, because this entire government is a joke. As we sit here, right now, the executive order has officially been put into place. It's not going to go through, but it's one of those silly things. And it's funny because we were talking pre-show, and I was telling you about how I have a buddy who is disabled. So I felt like I really needed to hear what he had to say. Good friend of mine. I'm not going to say anything bad about him. But he had posted an article. I don't remember what publication from, so I'm not going to quote any of that. But he posted a piece about how the ADA is the next on the chopping block, which is supposed to be the government entity that helps disabled folks.
And what's the acronym? American with Disabilities Act, right?
Yes, that's what it is. And it was enacted in 1990. And in his post, he goes, I feel like this is next on the chopping block, and that's not good. I'm paraphrasing here. I will say that this act was put into place just a couple of years before I was born. And despite its existence, I have still struggled to get the help that I need to find gainful employment in the workplace. And I'm looking at that and I go, do you realize what you just said right there? You just said that the governmental entity that you don't want to be shut down or cut or whatever it's going to be isn't doing the job
that you were hoping
that
it would.
It was intended to do, but you're still defending it. That is what we're seeing with the Department of Education right now.
I guess I'd have to see like the full like synopsis, at least the bullet points of what the ADA was supposed to do, the American with Disabilities Act. I thought it was more about accessibility, and I guess that could branch into like jobs and stuff.
The workplace, yeah, absolutely.
The workplace, but one thing that they have done a crack job at, like as in good, like a good job that a lot of foreign countries actually
not like a Hunter Biden crack job, but like a real,
right. Yeah, like they've done a real a crack shot, like a crack shot shooter, and the actual accessibility we do get in all of our stores and our workplaces. When you look up different articles and stuff about like what foreigners love most about America, one of the things that I've seen mentioned numerous times is just accessibility. That's totally fair, because I like Braille, like that's stuff that you don't see in other countries. Braille everywhere. Our parks have like a majority of our parks at least have some section of it that's accessible. Like there's at least a swing for like people who are paralyzed or something like that.
Curbs that have wheelchair cutouts.
Yeah,
I mean, because I have another buddy who's traveled to Europe who's in a wheelchair, and he's like, yeah, it's fucking awful. Like, it's absolutely awful. Like, nothing's accessible. The curbs are fucked. Like, you can't get around anywhere. So it's not to say that the ADA does nothing, but like when I have somebody who's actually like utilize the ADA to his advantage, as he should, being somebody who's actually disabled, saying that it hasn't done enough kind of cuts into your defense of it, I guess is what I would say.
Because a bunch of able-bodied people would see all the fat that surrounds the muscle, and they don't see the muscle of like the actual like positives of a organization. They just want to cut all the fat. They go, this needs to be cut. This needs to be funded. This needs to get rid of it. You know what I mean? It's like one perspective only, like one side of it completely takes advantage of like the actual useful part, right? The other side, who doesn't get to use the useful part and bitches to their friend at the bar about it, over a couple beers, and it's like, there was 8 goddamn handicap spots right out front, and no one's even parked in them, and I had to park fucking 3 football fields away just this place. You know what I mean? Like, people bitching like that, they only see like the wastefulness.
That just reminds me, I have to tell, it's a very, very quick story, but a really good friend of mine. For those who don't know, the reason I have so many friends that are in wheelchairs is because I've done a lot of volunteer work for the Muscular Dystrophy Association. I made a lot of friends through the years. I have a lot of friends in wheelchairs. Okay, so I have one really good buddy. We make this joke where when we see somebody park at, like, because he's in a chair, I'll put him in his van and we'll drive somewhere. We'll go out to dinner, have drinks or whatever. And like we'll be like cruising around the parking lot looking for handicap spots, as we do. Like, we go to the handicap section first, and then if we can't find one, we'll usually go off in the back and like take up 2 spots so we can get his wheelchair ramp out, right? And every time we go into one of these parking lots and all of the handicap spots are taken up, we want to sit there and watch who gets into them, because generally it's somebody that doesn't even have a cane.
Yeah.
Completely 100% mobile on their own, but because they have a disability, they get themselves a handicap sticker on their license plate and they can park at these spots. And we constantly refer to them as phony cripples all the time. Like, look at the phony cripple getting in his car right now. Because it's like, obviously my buddy needs that spot a hell of a lot more than you do with your migraines or whatever disability you claim to have.
I think about that sometimes, like, because of all the metal in my body, I probably could, if I wanted to, like, actually fight for a handicap sticker.
I would key your car. Or no, what's even better is, so like my buddy's got a van that has, so I don't know how familiar you are with wheelchair accessible vans, but some of them have the ramps that go out the back side of the van. And then some of them have the ramps that go out the side. So that's why they have, those lines.
Yeah, the lines.
Right. And like what we'll do is, like, what will happen is one of the quote unquote phony cripples will just decide, whatever, I got a handicap sticker, and they'll just fucking park like halfway in the lines. And it's like, oh, there's an open spot, but we can't fucking use it because we can't open the goddamn ramp to get you out of this.
Wouldn't that also, though, answer the question more of why they have a handicap sticker if they just can't even like fit in the lines? But then again, you probably should, if you can't fit in parking lot lines, you probably shouldn't be on the road. But yeah,
no, are you calling?
I've seen people with handicap. Huh?
Are you calling them the R word, Corey? Bell, you know where I'm going with this. Pull it up. The people that are parking in those lines.
No, I'm not. There's people that are very mentally capable, and I'm not saying that people with the I word don't have those spots, but there are definitely people there that just have really fucked up bodies. You know, I have a friend right now who just found out he has to go on dialysis. You know, I don't expect him to walk.
That totally ruins the video I was about to play. You went all somber on me now. The R word is official. The R word is officially back. I have seen this video that Bell's about to
Is it
play.
though? We're still saying the R word and we're not saying it.
I want to make sure it's okay. All right. That's why I'm going to play this video first. This is a commercial from like the early 90s or like the late 80s.
And it's like trending all over the place. I know what you're talking about.
I have seen this video at least 4 times on Facebook in the last 2 days. Bell, go ahead, roller.
What would you say if I told you I was mentally retarded? Will you believe me?
Yes.
There are 6 million mental retarded Americans who need to be helped, who can't be helped. Who's helping? The ARC, the Association for Retarded Citizens.
Jesus
They helped me. Yes, I am mentally retarded. Build the ARC. When you give help, you give hope. What will you say?
That poor girl. Like, how much did they have to pay her family, right? Because she probably had a power of attorney back in 1992.
She might have had a guardian. Who knows? But
oh my God,
what?
dude, it's back. That word is
That's
so
from
back.
like the 80s though. But because it's trending,
it's like early 90s.
So I never saw that video, and I was waiting for it to be a Stitch where it cuts out and has someone else talking the entire time because that's all I've seen with it. And so I'm just like, oh boy, here, when is it happening? But that was the actual video.
It was the actual video.
And Bell, you know,
That was
look
a commercial.
look up ARC real quick. See if it's still around. First off,
It's definitely still around.
But does the R still stand for the same thing?
No, they've probably found a way to reconfigure the acronym. Just
Yeah, see
something
if
else.
it's still the original acronym, or see if it's
What was
something
it?
else.
Association
And-
for Retarded Citizens.
Yes,
Is that what it was back then? Yeah.
and it turned into like an anti pyromaniac group, and it's just retardant, anti-retardant citizens. Or it'd be a pyro group. It'd be a pyro
It still exists.
Is the R still
What
the
it-
same?
Dude, it's just the ARC now. The ARC promotes and protects the human rights of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities.
Which, to
and
be clear,
supports
I'm not against.
full
To
inclusion.
be clear, I'm not against this. You know, like this is something that's probably good. I was gonna have you look up the numbers next and see what they've like done. Even if it's a fluff piece on their website, I
You
like
guys-
to believe
you
it's
guys-
true.
You
But
guys want to hear a little bit about their history?
yeah,
Yes.
All right. This is going to be fun. In 1950, little was known about intellectual disability, then referred to as mental retardation, and developmental disability or its causes. There were virtually no programs and activities to assist in the development and the care of people with I/DD or to support families. It was common for doctors to tell parents that the best place for their child was in an institution. But these advocates wanted more. Goddamn. They wanted their loved ones to lead fulfilling lives in the community and not be shuttered away in dark institutions. Emboldened by their collective desire to raise their children in their home and their refusal to accept that institutionalization was the only option, the ARC was born.
Sorry, I wish I could do something, but I can't.
oh god, dude, I was waiting.
You know what I love? I love when Bell just
Okay,
gives
now
an explanation
Bell,
and then just peels himself out of the fucking shot.
I also need you to look up like the stats of like what they've done. Okay,
We might
because
come
I'm sure
back
they've
to
done
that.
some good stuff.
Oh yeah, just like USAID.
Oh Jesus Christ!
Don't get bogged down by all the haters out there.
That's right. Thank you, George Santos. I've not been keeping up on that podcast nearly enough. I really have. I have a backlog I have to go check out.
Sorry, guys, I can't go disking. I have a backlog. I have to go listen to George Santos's podcast, "Liar Pants on Fire."
No, it's just Pants on Fire. Don't add extra words to this.
Oh, I thought it was "Liar
not-
Pants on Fire."
No, it's just Pants
Just
on Fire.
bullshit.
You would know.
Most of it, yeah, most of it is.
You would know.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the couple episodes I listened to were absolutely awful, but they're good. They're good hate watch.
It's like Marjorie
hate watch,
Taylor
good hate
Greene's
listen.
podcast.
I would listen to the shit out of that show. By the way,
she just hasn't posted any new video episodes in a long time.
I sent you guys that text. Was she attacking Trump the other day when she was talking about Americans not wanting any new wars, or is she just an idiot? And it was because it was right after Trump firebombed the Houthis, which we're going to talk about a little bit later.
No, I mean, if she's going against Trump there.
That's what I'm saying. Fucking bizarre.
Look how Trump viciously attacks people. Look how he went after Thomas Massey, and look how he went after that judge, James Bossad or whatever.
Bell, we're ready for you. Corey just needed to finish.
Corey was just asking about the Ark.
Yes.
Their values are to instill human dignity with people with IDD. They are very into DEI. Who would have thunk it?
Well, yeah, because people that are there, that's inclusion. That's the whole point of it. They want to be involved.
I know.
You're acting surprised. Dan's just acted surprised. I was like, what?
He's good at
the whole point of
it.
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
Go ahead.
We have actual audio from Trump about the
You've done a hell of a lousy job.
Well, they're trying to get people involved with the community, people with IDD. That's what they call that now.
Why haven't they changed their acronym yet?
That's a good question.
What does the R stand for right here, right now, today? Do you have the
answer? It doesn't stand for anything. It is literally like the Ark, like Noah's Ark.
Like Noah's Ark. Yeah.
ARK?
So they just got rid of it.
No, it's ARC. It's still the same acronyms, but they used it and turned it into a word instead of.
I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about Noah's Ark this entire time.
You wouldn't have been invited.
I'm just kidding.
You wouldn't have been invited on the Noah's Ark.
Why not?
With jokes like those.
I'm a cool guy. I'm a fun guy.
I don't think the women would have wanted you there. I don't think the women would have wanted you.
I guess I don't know how many men and women were there.
Two,
including all the animals or just the humans?
Yeah, maybe you go down on her, dude. Don't be selfish. Don't be a sexist.
These questions are for the audience, obviously. They're not for me.
Did you see Mark Kelly's fucking like Chevy Tahoe or some shit? Bell's got this video too. I'll have him pull this up while I preface it. Did you see this shit? Apparently, electric vehicles are no longer a thing of the left.
Oh,
because
yeah,
because
Elon, I heard of this one.
Yeah, because Elon makes Teslas and Elon's
became a very partisan figure.
Radioactive. So now all of a sudden, if there's like some entity that is somehow just trying to troll the left, it's doing a wonderful job, right? Because first it kicked out all of the lefty figures that it wanted. It kicked out Joe Rogan. It almost kind of kicked out Bernie Sanders in a weird way. It kicked out Elon Musk.
If he was ever in, he probably would have been president.
Who's that?
Let's be honest. Bernie Sanders.
Bernie? Yeah, and don't you love how he had
Democrats for down ticket voting, but that's the only time they would bring him out during presidential elections.
Yeah, he's just this weird pawn. He's just a weird pawn, and he plays
he was a pawn just to bring out down party voters.
And he
because if you go out to vote for someone, you're voting the rest.
You saw that he did a couple of rallies. He did one here in the Detroit area, and he did one I think in Wisconsin. And like all I saw was from like my Democratic friends was like, "Oh my God, I had to park around the block and couldn't even get inside to a high school gymnasium." Like, good job. Bernie sold out a sold out or whatever, filled up a high school gymnasium. Wonderful. And they go, "Oh my God, he had such a great message." I'm like, as the Robin Williams drop that we like to play goes, what year is it? Is it 2015 again? You don't understand that Bernie Sanders is not actually a lefty figure? You don't understand this? I'm not even of the left, and I see that. He's a cuck, and he's doing random rallies in March of 2025. It's not an election year. Like, what is he rallying for? What are you doing? What are you paying for? It's gross. And Mark Kelly, I'll have Bell go ahead and roll. Just go ahead and roll the video. Mark Kelly bought a gas guzzling vehicle because now
I am with my new ride.
Yeah.
Chevy, good old Chevy Tahoe.
Yeah, Chevy Tahoe.
Here in Washington, D.C. Got one of these in Tucson as well.
Well, hold on real quick. Pause it. And Bell, I need you to look up if there are electric Chevy Tahoes, because if everyone's assuming that this thing's fucking gas and it's electric, I'm going to find that as the funniest goddamn thing.
That's not an electric Chevy Tahoe.
How do you know?
You would know.
You
would know.
Look, doesn't exist.
Okay,
it doesn't
so
exist.
there you
go. Oh, there you go. That's the story. Okay. Good job, bud.
Go ahead and finish. We got, 23 seconds left?
Union Labor, United Auto Workers in Arlington, Texas. Always good to buy union cars. Incredibly reliable. And I'm looking forward to driving this for many, many years. All right.
That is probably a lease you're going to get rid of in 2 years, first off. And secondly,
Corey, you took the words right out of my mouth. Is that even his car? Or did he just walk out of the Capitol and just pull up next to a Chevy Tahoe and go, hey, look, I just bought this
we know how
Chevy
lobbying
Tahoe.
works. GM was probably like, yo, you want an American-made car? We'll give you one. Just make a commercial for us.
Why didn't they give him an electric or at least a hybrid? I mean, at least
it's all about the bottom dollar. And right now, the market doesn't want electric. And hybrids, I think, are the way to go. Hybrids are the best way to go.
Agree.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
It saves you a gas, and there's not the huge pollution in the front end. It's not all of a sudden now us having to go to war and try to make these crazy transactions for now these super rare raw minerals. Like, you have a car that runs on a little bit of gas, it charges up a battery, the battery drives the car, and then you're not pulling gas from or electricity from your house that's probably running on a coal plant. Like, economically, efficiently, hybrid cars are the way to go. But where I'm at is like, fuck all that. Fucking Hyundai, I think it is, has that hydrogen cell car. That's the future.
Yeah, I hope you're right.
Hydrogen.
Wrong, but I hope you're right.
As long as we don't, like, destroy the whole world through some cataclysmic action, stuff man-made, then hydrogen cell shit all over everything will probably be what's next.
But do you see what Mark Kelly just did right there?
Yeah, he did a Chevy Tahoe commercial.
Yeah, and he did the whole like union labor thing, and like that's fine. Like, you know, you and I have our differences on unions. I think they're good and bad, but like
I'm right there with you on that. They're good and bad.
The whole thing was like 6 minutes ago. That car, no Democrat would be seen next to saying they just bought it,
parading it.
Would you agree?
100%.
No way.
Look what happened when Ford and GM and all them back during the financial crisis in 2008, when they were all trying to come to the government for a bailout to save, hundreds of thousands of jobs across, like probably millions of jobs because of like contracted factories and stuff like that. And the first time they came in to ask for the money, they asked these people, how do they get there? And they all talked about their private jets. And then they freaked out. They're like, are you kidding me? The next day they came in fucking hybrid and electric vehicles.
Yeah, just saving the planet. That's all we're doing. We're saving the planet, going on our private jets to these climate conferences. Oh, and by the way, also buying beachfront property that is quote unquote going to be gone in 10 years.
If I ever get rich, I'm buying an oil tanker to travel. Can't tell me nothing, bro.
I'm just gonna cut off the Cadillac converter.
I could just see Bell's tiny ass in a fucking semi. Just like cruising.
I want one of those 1,800 footers.
You know, ridiculously tall like gears.
Yeah, like pirates try to roll up on me. Pirates try to roll up on me, and it's so tall they can't even throw a rope over.
No.
I just look down at him like, ha, peasants.
Talking about
You've done a hell of a lousy job.
We are way off the rails here.
No,
Yes,
we're
we are.
good. We're good. I was going to move on to the next thing here because after we make fun of Mark Kelly and making fun of Democrats being hypocrites, we're going to get into Republicans.
Dude, okay, so here's my
Don't
biggest
worry.
thing is like the Democrats are stereotypically supposed to be the environmentally conscious ones, and they are starting some of the dirtiest fires they possibly could by igniting electric vehicles on fire. That's absolutely insane. That's absolutely bonkers.
By the way, Corey, using aerosol spray paint to paint swastikas on Teslas. It's bad for the ozone.
Yeah, like the symbolism is wrong, but also okay to put on things so other people like I don't know. Yeah, dude, it's bonkers.
Corey,
It's fucking bonkers. I
it
saw
goes
someone
right back
yesterday,
to-
dude. I shit you not. I saw someone yesterday driving a Tesla and they had a beauty plate around their license plate that said, I bought this before Elon went crazy. Which I guess is a funnier play of it. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, I'm not selling my Tesla. He's just I'm gonna buy this beauty plate and call it a day.
I see people. You ever see the stickers where it's like, it's the same thing on Teslas. It's like, I bought this before I knew he was a Nazi. You think people were slapping that on their Fords?
Right.
That's fair enough.
What about all the
Ford was
Volkswagens?
Oh my God. I wish I owned a Ford right now because I would 100% buy one of those plates.
Corey, we should do it.
Dan
You guys
drives
own
a
a Ford?
Volkswagen.
I have a
I do
Ford.
drive a Volkswagen. Oh, that's right. I do drive a Volkswagen. I forgot.
Yeah.
Oh.
I do drive.
bought
I
this before I knew he was a Nazi.
drive the original Nazi mobile.
Yeah, you should.
Them and BMW.
I bought this before I knew he was a Nazi and slap it on your
I am 100% doing that. I am 100% doing that. I drive the original Nazi mobile. It's falling apart and it's rusting out, but it's a really great car.
yes, the Volkswagen, good vehicle. Ford was a Nazi too, wasn't he?
Oh,
At
he
least
was a
didn't
complete.
wasn't he like giving money or something?
Henry Ford, absolute anti-Semite. Yeah, I mean, he was like. Walt
See, the thing is, they were all openly Nazi back then. People don't like to talk about that. Like how these regular people that we like still, think of as like, oh, he created the 40-hour week.
A lot of like, rich white people back then did like talk a lot of shit about, like anyone other than white. And it would be like if they were Irish, it would even be like Polish and Europeans and everything. It was way more ethnically siloed back then.
40 hours a week for
Like,
Americans.
Italians weren't considered white until like after World War II.
Well, what do you
And
think?
then
All
they
the
were like,
funny,
all right,
all the funny,
Belfiories, you can come into the fold.
all the funny, jokey stereotypes from like a Polak can't do work on a house for any reason. Like that's the
They
funny
were, like,
question.
A lot of them were like master plumbers, actually. Like that was right. Like a lot of the stereotypes didn't even fucking make sense. Italians were painters and carpenters.
Hey, it's true.
Are you offended by that? Does that offend you?
Irish.
I said it's true.
Irish were cops and firemen.
Ooh, I don't like that. Well, the fireman's okay, but the cops part,
Cops and firemen, and I'm sure they did other things.
They were just getting everybody back.
Yeah, the Irish. Yeah, 'cause a lot of the Irish that were brought over in the beginning too. Like,
Speaking of Irish, did you see that Trump brought Conor McGregor to the White House on St. Patrick's Day?
That's funny.
Me and my buddy were joking about this. We're like, the one actual Irishman that Trump knows. He's just like, yeah, come on in.
His token
Come on
Irish
into the
guy.
White House. Yeah, his token Irish guy.
Dude, I went to a couple of bars. in the
What's his
local area.
immigration status?
Right?
One of the bar I was at.
He's here on a work visa.
I was at a bar, over here on Van Dyke, and Charlie Langdon was there, like recording.
Oh, I love Charlie. I see him a lot of times at the one of my customers. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Go ahead.
But yeah, I was like, oh shit, it's Charlie Langdon, and like I kind of like tapped it like on the shoulder or whatever. He turned around, he's like, hey, like he But yeah, it was pretty fucking wild.
He's very loud. Let it rip. Anyway, I didn't really have anything else to say about that. I just thought it was funny that Trump brought his only token Irish buddy into the White House on St. Patrick's Day. That is so fucking Trump, though.
He's got Kennedy, bro.
It's just it's just wild.
But I'm talking about like actual Irishmen that's born and raised, bred in Ireland. Conor McGregor's absolutely the only guy he knows.
It's just wild to me that we, as a country that are like capitalist and consumers, are letting politics get in the way of buying things that we generally enjoy. As trivial as it is, I guess, you know what I mean? Like,
what are you talking about?
It's almost equatable of like Bud Light and Teslas. Like a bunch of Democrats bought Teslas because they enjoyed Teslas. They enjoyed the electronic vehicle or like the battery powered vehicle and stuff like that. But now because all of a sudden the people in charge of it are making a political decision that you don't agree with, they're all trying to sell it.
What the hell does that have to do with Conor McGregor going to the White House?
No, I was still talking with going back to the Tesla thing. You said you were done with Conor McGregor, so I was like, okay, I guess we'll go back to the Tesla thing.
Corey, the human non sequitur.
and then
you've done a hell of a lousy job.
People on the right did the same fucking thing with Bud Light. Like they all loved Bud Light, and then the people in charge made a political decision they didn't like, and they freaked out.
Let's be honest, it was mostly Kid Rock.
No, remember their stocks plummeted. The marketing person got fired, I believed, and
yeah. Well, actually, no. That you know what, Corey? I just shit on you. I called you the human non sequitur, but that was an absolutely fantastic sequitur because what was one of the media companies that absolutely glommed onto the Bud Light thing?
Daily Wire.
The Daily Wire, absolutely fantastic sequitur because the Daily Wire absolutely tanking right now. They are losing viewership to the point where there was an article put out earlier today by Axios saying Jeremy Boring, co-founder of the Daily Wire, is stepping down from his role as co-CEO to focus on creative projects for the company. He told staff in a memo obtained by Axios on Tuesday. Why it matters? Boring has been with the Daily Wire since its inception in 2015. He helped grow the outlet from a tiny news startup with $4.7 million, as if that's a small number, in seed funding to a media giant valued worth north of $1 billion last year. They're tanking. Why are they tanking? You know the answer to this.
They're a one-trick pony.
Because they suck.
Well, no. I mean, yes. Bell,
because the
you're right.
BDS movement got a hold of Ben Shapiro.
No, because they're pro-war. Why are they pro-war? Because they are unequivocally and undeniably attached to the state of Israel. That's why. That's why they're tanking. These numbers have gone down for the Daily Wire ever since the canning of Candace Owens. Now, they don't talk about it like it's a firing, but whatever. Since Candace Owens parted ways with the Daily Wire. And I hope our listeners know this by now. I am not any sort of Candace Owens fan. I think she is an absolute grifter who just goes with the flow. Like whatever the popular sort of outsider view is what Candace Owens goes with.
Either the contrarian view or
she's just a contrarian. However, I'm mostly with her on her views about Israel. Now she kind of crosses the line, it seems like, sometimes into this weird anti-Semitic
really conspiracies and stuff.
Yeah, sort of the anti-Semitic conspiracy theory stuff. But like her overall critique of Israel is the reason why she was gone from the Daily Wire. And they won't ever say that. But ever since she's been gone, Brett Cooper has since left.
Jordan Peterson's effectively absent. I haven't seen anything about him.
I mean, he still does his show. He still does his
through the Daily Wire,
his JBP podcast. But I don't know what they have to do with that. But either way, like it's so obvious what this is, because this is. And I have my disagreements with James Lindsay as well, but James Lindsay has really called out the woke right, and the Daily Wire is absolutely a proponent of the woke right, because they did this whole thing for all of these years about how, trans ideology and wokeness and all of this stuff is so bad, and it's so ridiculous, and it doesn't have anything. It's not ingratiated in any way with common sense. And to be honest with you, I kind of agreed with a lot of that part of what the Daily Wire had to say, but then they just use the same playbook of wokeness when it comes to Israel. They do this thing about, you have this, you have an issue with the way Israel is conducting its business. You're an anti-Semite. That's the same fucking shit that that they accuse the quote unquote woke left of doing for so long. And they weren't wrong when they said that.
Creating safe spaces, triggered words.
Absolutely. When Ben Shapiro came out and was and was for forgive me if I'm not getting this exactly correct because I don't have it in front of me, but when Ben Shapiro came out and was for like reserving certain jobs for Jewish Americans, like why is he different than DEI?
So what I've noticed too is that the thing about Israel, he will not budge. But I've noticed Ben Shapiro spitting a lot of anti-Trump rhetoric lately against tariffs, all that stuff, and I kind of noticed. I didn't know they were going bankrupt.
Yeah, no.
I see it. I see the writing on the wall now.
A lot of their mega movement because they're going a little bit after Trump with that. Yeah,
and you know what?
There's
just a comment.
No real economist that.
Just to comment on what Bell just said, if Ben Shapiro's calling out Trump on the tariff bullshit, good for Ben Shapiro. Like I will support Ben Shapiro's take on that.
There's like no economist that actually agrees with tariffs being good for an economy.
Because if they work, it would be the first time in human history of anywhere that tariffs were actually a good thing.
Right.
So there you go. The Daily Wire is on
and he's like it's interesting, right? Like he sees, because America exporting some of its products, yes, a lot of countries tariff us. But in America, everything is traded on the US dollar. And because of the free trade that we give countries, even if they don't reciprocate, we have a big enough market that companies here can still do a decent job, even if they're American made. And we also get a bunch of really cheap commodities because it's easy to just sell here. Tariffs is going to take that away from us and make it like it is like every other country. Because that's what every other country does. Like tariffs are things that have always been there. Just other countries did it, typically didn't do them. And now we're going to see what it's like having to pay more expensive prices for anything that's imported, which is a shit ton, damn near probably 80% of the things Americans buy.
Tariffs are like punching yourself in the face.
Yeah, that's basically what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Nah, I mean. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Did you guys see Hunter Biden and Ashley Biden are having their Secret Service detail revoked by Donald Trump?
Oh no.
Yeah, here's the thing. I don't care. First of all, I think it's a petty move by Trump, but also I don't really care because their Secret Service detail is going to end in July anyway. So it's like, well, it's going to end in July anyway, so who cares? But also it's going to end in July anyway, so who cares?
You tell Hunter Biden just to sell one of his photos for $500,000, and then he can afford like 4 Secret Service agents and other overhead fees, for a year.
Totally just a throwaway topic I just threw out there. We do not have to discuss that. All right. Should we get into the serious stuff now that we're 40 minutes in?
What serious stuff?
We don't have any serious stuff. All right. Good night, everybody. No, Trump bombing the Houthis in Yemen is kind of the big one today. Just a little bit. Don't you think?
Yeah, I guess that's a little serious.
Because here's the thing. I'm going to give credit to Dave Smith because he said this first, but I swear to God, I was thinking it the same time he said it, which is, if you want to let Democrats or neoliberals in general back into the fight for political supremacy, if you will, in the United States, starting another war is a really, really, really good way to do that. Because Trump ran his entire campaign, not his entire campaign, but a big chunk of his campaign on being anti-war. And to his credit, and I know we've mentioned this a multitude of times on this show, his first term, there were no new wars. And we gave him credit for that. We gave him credit where credit was due, because it was due.
Right.
Now you have Trump. It weirdly seems like he's more in bed with the agenda of Israel today than it ever seemed in his first term. Of course, we're talking his first term was pre-October 7th. Obviously, things are a little bit different then. However, it's not a good look. And it's so interesting because you go on Twitter and you can see who's who. You can see who's who in the comments about the bombing of the Houthis in Yemen. And it's always, and this is what I can't stand about human beings. Like in general, I'm sorry. Like this is what I hate about humankind in 2025. It's always about when history started. Because to so many of these of the people that are defending this, which are generally the MAGA crowd, the pro-Trump crowd, it's always, they bombed our ships. What were we supposed to do? Nothing. And it's just like the discussion with Ukraine. It's just like the discussion with Israel. Tell me when you think history started. Did I just do that fucking weird,
yeah, you're making a point.
Wine mom. Did I do that wine mom clap thing? I'm really disappointed. I'm really disappointed in myself. I'm sorry I did that.
Nah, dude. I do it all the time.
But tell me when you think history started. Because we have been...
The Bible clearly says 2,000 years ago.
Well, thank you for that, Corey.
Methuselah was 968.
The problem that I have here is this. If you look at history starting as of a few days ago, when the Houthis were actually, bombing our ships and taking our ships out, then sure. It absolutely tells you that we should do something, right? You should answer when somebody attacks you first, right, Corey? You should absolutely answer when somebody attacks you first.
Yeah.
Let's go back to 2009 when Obama made the deal with Saudi Arabia that the Houthis were a quote unquote rebel terrorist group. Let's go back to just a couple of years ago when the Houthis actually started to control a huge portion of Yemen. But you're not a government. You're not a government unless we say you're a government. If we don't say you're a government, you're just a group of rebels. You're just a group of terrorists. If we don't say you're a government, and it's like, well, what should we do? What should we do when these rebels / terrorists bomb our ships? We have to respond, right? Yeah. Or we could stop blindly providing money to the Israeli cause that wants to wipe out all Muslim life, it seems like, within 40,000 miles of them. We could get our fucking Navy ships out of the area.
Well, so the Navy ships are there for like safe passage, right? For commerce.
Right, but why do they need
that's
to be
what Trump's like main like action is with this. He just wants the like I think that's why he wants the shit in Israel to end too. He just wants the commerce to roll through. He's all about the money. And so in his mind, like this is honestly just what I think is what he's doing. I don't think he's trying to start a new war. He's just trying to make it clear, like, let my ships fucking go through. You know what I mean? Like that's honestly like I don't know. That was just been my take on this. It's like they've been out there shooting missiles at freighters and basically anything going through the canal in that area.
Look, the Houthis, I get their movement, but they're at the point now where they're literally just shooting freighters. They're using child soldiers, by the way. I don't know if you guys knew that. I mean, Dan, you're right. We should stop backing these things. God damn. The Houthis aren't cool, man.
Yeah, and I'm not pro-war. I'm not pro. Like, I don't agree. I don't agree with us basically subsidizing Israel's what could be called a genocide there. And I understand
both can be right. Both things can be correct. We should stop backing Israel and the Houthis.
Are attacking ships in the canal because that's happening, and we are financially backing it.
Can I?
They had no business.
Hold on. Can I just add this one thing? Just I think you guys are going to find this interesting, and you might already know it. As far as the Houthis go,
sure.
When the ceasefire was taking place, what the Houthis do?
They stopped firing.
They backed down.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as the ceasefire was done with, they started firing again.
Well, they were smart about it. They knew they could get swatted. They probably didn't think that the United States was actually going to do some shit like this. But
so did he attack them unprovoked? I don't know the whole context.
No, he's backing Israel. There's
no, I mean I know he's backing Israel and the Houthis, funded by Iran,
all the food and everything. Israel. They're trying to stop the food supply and all the supply of goods and whatever going into Israel. The Houthis
to Gaza.
Oh yeah, because when it gets to Israel, Israelis want to stop it.
Well, no, they're
doing the Israelis saying that the IDF
they're shooting it.
That the Houthis is doing their job for them. Because that's what the IDF was doing, right?
Well, I think they're actually. It's like
I'm
gas
saying the
and
IDF
stuff.
was actually stopping. Yeah, but the IDF was doing the same thing to the Gaza. That's the joke I was making.
Right? No. Two wrongs don't make right. I'm just saying that's what the Houthis are like. You're doing it to them. We're gonna do it to you. You're gonna cut off their food supply. We're gonna cut off your food supply, your gas.
Although they were cutting off supplies to Israel, not Gaza.
Yeah,
I think what you can say is that like, who's done a better job of holding to agreements as we sit here right now?
Oh,
is it
not the
Israelis?
The fact that Gaza just rolled tanks back into like some strip, like something with an N, like Norstick or some strip, which is like the dividing line of North and South Israel.
The thing that I can say,
Israel literally just broke the ceasefire agreement.
The difference between the Houthis and the Israelis is that the Houthis are principled.
Oh, see, there we go. That's all we needed to know.
As I said, I know what you want to hear, and that's the truth.
Like, I'm just talking about just commerce lanes. That's what I mean. Like, and I think that's all Trump wants. I don't think starting a war thing. I know
Trump always sees a shiny toy and he gets distracted by it. I understand. I understand how he goes,
and he knows that lane being
it's the Gulf of Oman,
safe and consistent, and that there's people shooting missiles. Yeah.
That's where all that stuff goes through. That's why all the pirates are there. That's why everything. But Yemen is right there.
Right.
They could take care of business real quick. That's why it was important for Trump to hit them.
Yeah,
I
and,
think.
our
Hold on.
military's been going after the pirates themselves forever. It's just that's what our Navy does. They protect shipping lanes. That's why we have such a big Navy.
Yep.
I think we've lost a little bit of the point here, which is it's always about when you think history started.
Oh yeah. We can go back.
And
to that.
everybody fucks that up.
History never ends is the way that I look at it. Like a war or whatever. It's like, dude, when did the Israeli war start? Really? 47?
48,
Yeah,
47. Yeah. And it ended in 48, but it even goes, but like, is that when history
It never
started?
stopped.
Or does it go back to the late 1800s when the Zionist movement first started and wanted to move into the
or
wanted to move
3000
into all that?
BC or whatever, dude? It's like,
Yeah,
I mean, if
but
you're
the
talking about,
Zionist
if you're talking
movement
about,
is the 1800s.
I was gonna say, if you're talking about just the Zionist movement, which is who controls Israel now, we're talking about the 1887.
1800s. Yeah, they were pushed out of Eastern Europe.
Yeah,
they went into more of that, and they were getting along with everyone because it was the Austro-Hungarian Empire, or it was the Ottoman Empire. So every religion was subservient to the Persians. So like they all just kind of got along, but they kept getting pushed more and more and more and more east. And then when the Austro-Hungarian Empire fell, or not the Austro-Hungarian, God damn it, the
why
Ottoman
did they get
Empire.
pushed out? And who originally pushed them out of Europe?
Because everywhere, like they kept going places and trying to create like their little enclave, but it started like in Eastern Europe, and then they got pushed into the Middle East, and then after the Middle East, when they got pushed out of there after World War I, is when they went to Europe. And
Right.
then the shit popped off in Europe.
That was 1911.
Oh, some shit popped off in Europe. Holy shit!
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit of shit popped off in Europe.
Frankfurt,
Why did it get into it? Everyone knows exactly what I mean when I say that.
I know, it's so funny though. It's never not funny. It was like fucking over 100 years ago. It's still funny.
Dude, we're at a point now where I actually maybe I should share.
But yeah, like World War I is where it was promised to like the Zionist movement of Judaism, but then the same land was also all the land was also promised to like all these different sects of Islam, and then the Brits and the French and everything took it anyways. And
that's when the oil rush really first began, because a lot of that war was fought in Saudi Arabia actually. So that's part of why I think that the Jewish people didn't get their land really, and that's why all the land was crazy, because they called it the sands of gold. That's what they called that shit, because under the sand there was oil.
Yeah,
they're on horseback chopping the fuck out of each other over some oil.
Mm-hmm.
Straight up.
Yeah, like, and for more context, like Lawrence of Arabia, the one who like banned.
Let's
all,
you guys
like,
go at it. This is a great time for me to take a piss.
Like
great.
Lawrence of Arabia, who basically banned all like the Middle Eastern countries together to fight against the Ottoman Empire, was promising them their own countries and their own land. And then they got the rugs pulled out from underneath them. And Lawrence of Arabia was quoted as saying, like, if you'd have known that's what was going to happen, he wouldn't have done what he did. He talked about how brave they all were. And I mean, like, look at Afghanistan. Afghanistan has never been conquered.
I know. My favorite, honestly, everybody looks at today and they're like, the Mujahideen is bad. Bro, when Great Britain occupied India, they tried to go into Afghanistan from India, right? And this is, I mean, the maps were different back then. India was Pakistan. Pakistan was it was all, you know what I'm saying? But back then, Afghanistan was all peaceful, nonviolence, and that's what the original Taliban was. They were anti-violence. So the Brits were going in, they're killing off all the Afghani people, and there's a big group of Afghani people that got sick of it. They still wanted to follow, the way of Allah and do whatever. And the church told them, no, we're not going to recognize you, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But this group had formed. They called themselves the Mujahideen, the freedom fighters. They alone drove the Brits out of India and away from Afghanistan. The British Empire was never able to invade Afghanistan and take it.
And that's in the 1800s.
And Gandhi starved
No,
himself.
that was early 1900s,
Oh,
right
okay.
before World War One. So that's, you know, kind of how the war popped off anyways over there. But the Mujahideen never stopped, and the church or the Taliban, they were the Taliban back then, never denounced the Mujahideen. So the Mujahideen and the Taliban have been rocking together since the British attempted invasion of Afghanistan over a century ago.
Yeah, and then
Fun stories.
Russia tried it, and then America tried it. 3 of the biggest empires.
The history lesson according to Bell.
Oh, I watched a whole hour on that. I just summed it up and I just cliff notes that shit for you.
We have white privilege.
He's got a whole hour of education about Afghanistan. World's smartest podcast.
We have white privilege.
I don't remember where I was going to go next. I do. Hold on. We had Trump firebombing the Houthis because he's going to start another war. He's going to let the Democrats back into it.
We got something for Trump. It's a little more lighthearted.
Okay. So when he got hit in the face?
Hell
that's right.
Yeah.
He got hit in the face.
That's honestly, I seen that video, and his face was probably one of my funniest things that I've ever seen.
It's so good. No. Go ahead and throw it. You go ahead and throw it up and roll it whenever you got it.
It's
ready.
not even loading.
Why?
That's a shame.
I don't know. I'm gonna find it. Give me 30 seconds.
Trump getting hit in the face.
I'm gonna count down, Dan, the 30 seconds the entire time.
I'm not, because I don't care. But Trump, hold on. I want, so when we play, when Bell finds this video, I want people to pay very, very close attention to a specific part of Trump's face, because his eyebrows, I want you to tell me who has more iconic eyebrows. Is it Trump or is it Groucho Marx? Because his eyebrows here tell the entire fucking story. Bell, here we go. I did a really good job filibustering.
MAGA world is up in arms today after the bonk by a seen around the world. It happened as Trump left the White House en route to Mar-a-Lago with Elon Musk's little boy X merrily hopping along beside him. They flew to Joint Base Andrews, where Trump stopped to speak to reporters before taking off. The president was momentarily taken aback by the boy and gives the reporter holding the mic some curious side-eye. She apologizes and he appears to shake it off, even cracking wise.
To get the hostages back. He just became a big story tonight. Right? Yes, sir. Did you see that?
This is the same boom that hit the president. It's very soft and likely did not hurt. It's
how it happened?
Plastic and covered with this furry cover to protect the microphone underneath from the wind.
Microphone that hit Trump
had it on a long extension arm, which likely made it difficult to control, especially on a windy day. The mic smack sure looked like an accident, but some of his most rabid supporters are crying foul. They claim without evidence that the reporter hit Trump on purpose. Some are actually urging.
There's anthrax on it.
Dude, I saw someone talking about like ricin, and then the security
Danielle
needs to tighten
Kurtzleben,
up.
a political correspondent for NPR. Kurtzleben has shut down her social media accounts and did not respond to several requests for comments.
See, that's just it. That would never be news if it was Biden.
Right. That is the dumbest story I have ever, the dumbest story possibly ever. I fell asleep. That mic hit him in the face and he did the Groucho Marx eyebrows. Like, seriously, who has the more iconic eyebrows? Is it Donald Trump or Groucho Marx? Because honestly, Trump's eyebrows are pretty iconic. He does that fucking lift thing where he lifts them.
Right.
But he doesn't really, it's weird because he does a really good job of like keeping his eyes kind of squinched while he lifts his eyebrows. It's really weird how he's able to do that.
Why does he do that with his eyes? He's like this.
Assault. They called it assault.
He's fucking high on Sudafed.
I am telling you, man, there is a faction of the MAGA crowd that is just as woke as the people on the left that they hate so much. Seriously.
White people.
Oh, shit, buddy. I gotta dig a little deeper. There's no Pepe. Sonny, you gotta be kidding me. I got boxes full of Pepe.
Oh my, I can't believe, I honestly can believe it. Why am I saying I can't believe it? That there were people that were actually saying that was assault. Because Trump got brushed with a boom mic.
Assault.
Like, this man was actually fucking shot in the head. And you're saying that a boom mic accidentally brushing across his nose is a problem.
You're fired. Get out of here.
When they broke down a boom mic.
Come to find out there was anthrax on that boom mic. That'll really change.
No, we would have known about that by now. Then we would be not laughing about it.
You remember when anthrax was a thing? Why is anthrax not a thing anymore? You remember that after 9/11?
Did you guys ever watch The Kings of Tupelo?
No. What's that?
I did.
It sounds.
I told you guys to watch it. Did you watch the whole thing?
I did. That was incredible.
Dude, a part of the ricin attacks was some crazy Republican in Tupelo, Mississippi, trying to frame this other Elvis impersonator.
With anthrax?
The ricin.
Oh, ricin.
Because there was ricin as well.
Isn't that what they got?
And it was sent to Obama. It was sent to.
Oh no, that's what Walter White was talking about using in Breaking Bad to kill one of the guys.
Ricin.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
dude, no, like Kings of Tupelo, you gotta watch it. I'm telling you, it's all about it. Like, one of the biggest scares that was like linked to terrorists in our country is all boils down to an ambitious local person running for office and an Elvis impersonator.
Zionists attacked Eli Lake.
Did they?
Eli Lake, that does a lot of work with Barry Weiss's Free Press. About as Zionist as you can get, right? Barry Weiss. I had it in front of me. Where did it go?
I don't know. I'm not there.
Well, whatever. I can just reopen it. I'll reopen it. Here we go.
Eli Lake.
You don't know who Eli Lake is? Does a lot of work with Barry Weiss's Free Press, but he tweeted out. So we're going back into Mahmoud Khalil here. So this is Eli Lake's tweet. If Mahmoud Khalil is charged and convicted of an actual crime, he should be deported. If his quote unquote crime is just the expression of support for a terrorist organization, then the pageant is grotesque. And yes, I realize that COAID's harassment of Jews, destruction of property, etc., is not protected speech. But the legal argument thus far amounts to saying permanent legal residents can't say anything that the Secretary of State believes undermines U.S. foreign policy. That's a horrendous violation of free speech. And as much as I despise campus solidarity with baby stranglers, God, fuck you, Eli. I love American values more. Eli Lake is right here up until about that last sentence. And this is a staunch Zionist. Every fucking reply. Here's one from the Jewish Policy Center. Not quite, unless you consider lying on his visa application a crime. Visitors don't say they won't rob or rape. They say they will not offer support to those who undermine the security/FP of the U.S. Hamas is a U.S. designated terror organization, and Khalil gave it material support. Out! That's wrong. That's wrong. Like, you can absolutely support a terrorist organization in this country. You are allowed to do that. Here we go.
We don't encourage it. It's not like something we want, but it's like fundamentally, yeah.
You're allowed to do it. Katya Sedgwick says, if Khalil, quote unquote, if Khalil is only expressing support for a terrorist organization, we are obligated to reward him with American citizenship. Did I get that right? Because that's exactly what Eli said in his tweet, right? Let's see, Matt Belinsky. So you acknowledge that he engaged in quote unquote unprotected, so illegal behavior, but there is no basis to deport him because he was not charged and convicted. First of all, what about what Mahmoud Khalil said at this point is unprotected? Can you point it out to me? But he also goes on to say, not sure that squares, man. The Manhattan District Attorney electing not to charge and prosecute certain violations of the law should not preclude the federal government from establishing what he engaged in as a basis for enforcing, quote, federal standards for immigration, visas, and deportation. And dude, no, like this just goes on and on. It's all a bunch of Zionists attacking a staunch Zionist over a Zionist having a little bit of principle on what is and what is not protected speech, which is pretty much fucking everything. This is where we are now. So when we talk about woke, so hold on, Corey, when we talk about the woke right, and I'm not saying Eli Lake is right wing. I really don't think he is. I listened to some of his stuff. I have vehement disagreements with him on a lot of stuff. But we talk about the woke right applying wokeness to what they disagree with and shutting down and censoring. There's no greater example than Israel. You can't critique Israel according to the woke right. You just can't do it. You're not allowed to do it.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
You are literally not allowed to support a Palestinian person, not a Hamas person, but a Palestinian person without being labeled a Hamas supporter.
Israel to the right is equivalent to the trans community on the left.
Oh.
More or less. Yeah, more or less. And Trump's no different.
Right.
He's right on board.
Oh, he's right there with it.
Shall we play
shots when this should happen?
Shall we play Bell's got it, the Marco Rubio video? The Secretary of State that cannot defend his position for deporting. Who was he on with, Bell? You got it in front of you. He was was he on Face the Nation on CBS? Go ahead and roll it, Bell. I got nothing else to say. Just go ahead and roll it.
Ask you about a decision you made to revoke a student visa for someone at Columbia University this past week. The Wall Street Journal editorial board writes, the administration needs to be careful. It's targeting real promoters of terrorism, not breaking the great promise of a green card by deporting anyone with controversial political views. Can you substantiate any form of material support for terrorism, specifically to Hamas, from this Columbia student? Or was it simply that he was espousing a controversial political point of view?
Well, not just the student. We're going to do more. In fact, we every day now we're approving visa revocations. And if that visa led to a green card, the green card process as well. And here's why. It's very simple. When you apply to enter the United States and you get a visa, you are a guest. And you're coming as a student, you're coming as a tourist or what have you. And in it, you have to make certain assertions. And if you tell us when you apply for a visa, I'm coming to the U.S. to participate in pro-Hamas events, that runs counter to the foreign policy interest of the United States of America. It's that simple. So you lied. You came. If you had told us that you were going to do that, we never would have given you the visa. Now you're here. Now you do it. So you lied to us. You're out. It's that simple.
But
it's
is there any? But is there
Go ahead and
any
pause it, Bell.
Of a
You let him in already. Hold on. You let him in already, which means he has all of the protections of the Constitution, especially when he has a green card.
Right. Yeah,
so
it's not like he's in the court himself. Like it's
What if he didn't feel this way when he came here?
exactly, that's what I mean. Like it's not like it's an hour of him being under oath the entire time. And then on top of that, the thing that I find most wild about this is you are seeing essentially one of the biggest criticisms of what's happening in Israel to this, kind of through proxy, because that's what it's rooted in, right? Like if this guy was out there protesting the previous Syrian government or the government that we helped instill, or pro-Ukraine, anti-Ukraine, or anything like that, he wouldn't, as a green card holder, he wouldn't have been deported. But it's because it's in this entangled Israel-Gaza thing that's very, very polarizing in our country right now. That's why he got deported, because it's a part of a political agenda. And
I was just going to add to that by saying he could have attacked the United States of America. He could have attacked he could have attacked Donald Trump. And
well, then I guess don't let any green card holders in, Dan. You know what I mean? Like at this point, like what?
Well, there's a certain faction of Republicans that would agree
what I was
with
going
you
to
on
get
that,
at,
Corey.
what I was going to get at though is what we're seeing here, though, by proxy, is one of the biggest criticisms of this whole Israel-Gaza war, just because Trump's on the other side. If this happened under Biden, I don't think that his administration would be getting questioned like this.
I guess that's fair. Go ahead, Bill.
This is one of the biggest criticisms. I'm just saying, this is one of the biggest criticisms I've seen of the whole Israeli thing in mainstream media. Because for the most part, it's been pretty hush-hush about what's going on.
You know what? And that's entirely fair. Because if this were the Biden administration, if this were Biden's Secretary of State, we wouldn't even be talking about this right now.
Yeah, well, we wouldn't even talk about it.
You're absolutely right. Go ahead, Bill.
Or is it just his point of view?
Yeah, they take over. I mean, you should watch the news. These guys take over entire buildings.
Oh, just watch the news.
Intensely.
So it's kind of great, right? We're actually going to see real criticism of Israel because of the fact that
evidence or material support for terrorism?
Was the negotiator.
It's the Trump administration doing it now.
On behalf of people that took over a campus, that vandalized buildings, negotiating over what? That's a crime in and of itself, that they're involved in being the negotiator, the spokesperson, this, that, the other. We don't want it. We don't need these people in our country. We never should have allowed them in the first place. If he had told
but you
us,
did.
I'm going over there.
So once they're here, they have constitutional rights, you asshole.
One of the leaders of a movement that's going to turn one of your allegedly elite colleges upside down.
He's got huge ears.
Library buildings being vandalized. We never would have let him in. We never would have let him in to begin with. And now that he's doing it and he's here,
so go ahead and pause it, Bill.
He
goes. If we knew they were going to take over campuses and we knew they were going to vandalize buildings, we never would have let him in. So like you could assume that about any person. And second of all,
and it's someone who came here under the guise of this being a free country and this being a country that's like the shining light on the hill, like Reagan used to say, right? That like this country doesn't do the shit that you're trying to run from. And then you get here, you live here for years, you get your green card, you become an American, like you're on the path to American citizenship. And then all of a sudden you see now this country, and the whole time you're here, you're told that this is what makes America what it is. You can speak your mind. You can do this. We're not Australia or Europe that are locking people up. We're not China that locks you up if you criticize the CCP. We're not like the countries in the Middle East where like it's like heavily theologically oppressed. In America, you can say whatever you want. So he gets here, he's on his path, he's doing all the right things, he's going to fucking school, he works for the British government, and then he sees his American government doing something he doesn't like, and he's been told that this is what America does, and then he does it and he gets deported for it.
Yeah. Go ahead and finish it, Bill. I don't know what we have left.
And by the way, I find it ironic that a lot of these people out there defending the First Amendment alleged free speech rights of these Hamas sympathizers.
That right there, though. That right there, though. What the fuck was that?
So I think it's ironic.
Alleged free speech.
But the bottom line is this: if you are in this country to promote Hamas, to promote terrorist organizations, to participate in vandalism, to participate in acts of rebellion and riots,
you are completely within your rights.
If we had known that, and now that
is it only pro-Palestinian people who are going to have their visas revoked, or are other points of view as well?
No, I think anybody who's here in favor. Look, we want to get rid of Tren de Agua gang members. They're terrorists too. The president designated them, asked me to designate, and I did as a terrorist organization. We want to get rid of them as well. We don't want terrorists in America. I don't know how hard that is to understand. We want people. We don't want people in our country that are going to be committing crimes and undermining our national security or the public safety. It's that simple. Especially people that are here as guests. That is what a visa is. I don't know where we've gotten it in our head that a visa is some sort of birthright. It is not. It is a visitor into our country. And if you violate the terms of your visitation, you are going to leave.
That's the end of it. Yeah. So alleged free speech. Nope. They have them.
You
100% have free speech rights as a green card holder.
And
absolutely.
And the way he said it was blanket. He didn't explicitly say, oh, what about migrants? Like, sure, maybe he can explain away that it was. But to call anything alleged free speech, fuck you.
Well, and I love how he does that thing where he goes, if we had known that was this person's views, we never would have let. So
now we're not letting people in. Like, so freedom of thought isn't now allowed in America. Like, fuck you. Like, what? Like, what? It's your mind. Let me know exactly what you mean, because I'll tell you how I feel, because it's absolute fucking bullshit. Alleged free speech.
Oh boy. I am happy to be an American citizen, and the fact that I can sit online and say this shit.
But, and it makes it so much easier to criticize these motherfuckers and get you fired up because they say the quiet part out loud. Obviously, that's no different than a ministry of disinformation and stuff, but shit like that's harder to get fired up and actually like articulate it to other people who don't pay attention to politics unless Trump is in charge, because Trump speaks like a 6th grader. So a lot of people who have like the literacy of a 6th grader get what he's saying. You get a party of intellectuals and they give fancy acronyms and they say fancy things that you have to really pay attention to realize exactly what they're saying. I'll give cheers to this administration being fucking idiots to blatantly explain exactly how our government works, and that's it right there. They don't fucking care about your First Amendment speech. It's alleged.
Corey, it goes right back to the shit, the old cliche when you and I were leftists. We're not leftists anymore. But it goes right back. No. I mean, I would say we were leftists. I think I was back in the day.
I still have some leftist roots. Mostly libertarian. I think most of it could be voluntary, but yeah.
But Corey, it goes right back to the shit we used to make fun of during, well, maybe not you, because I don't know if you were as into it as I was at this point, but like the end of the Bush Jr. administration, we would make fun of conservatives that were like, well, you know what? If you don't like it, you can just get out. Like it's like it is that cliche. It is exactly that cliche that Marco Rubio administered on Face the Nation the other day. Well, you don't like it, you can get out. And if you don't want to get out, we're gonna kick you out. Like, fuck you, dude. That's not what this country is. That man is allowed to support Hamas. That man has free speech rights as a green card holder, on his way to being a citizen, seeing as he was married to a United States citizen. He was not. They haven't charged this man with a crime yet. We're going on 3 weeks. Not one crime. But because
and here's the saddest thing, man, he's gonna get off. Like I still have faith in our judicial.
I hope you're right.
based on everything we're talking about, how now Trump is attacking the whole judicial branch and saying these judges need to be impeached because all the judges aren't really having what he's doing. Now, he did that little loophole caveat bullshit with the planes and them being over international waters when that thing was signed for those planes going to El Salvador. And he might be trying to like hide behind that recent immunity thing that the Supreme Court enacted. But I'll tell you what, the whole rest of his fucking branch isn't protected under that presidential, what was it, between public and private like actions or whatever, presidential actions and private actions. The rest of his entire administration or his staff isn't protected by that. Shit will come down. The judges are getting pretty pissed and they're going after him on a bunch of this random bullshit. And I think that Khalil Mahmoud is will eventually like be allowed to stay. Yeah, Khalil Mahmoud, yeah. But Mahmoud
Khalil.
or yeah.
Mahmoud Khalil.
I think I still have faith in our judicial system that I think he's going to get to stay. Okay.
I hope you're right.
But what pisses me off about this is the message that this administration is trying to kick up. And that message is shut the fuck up about Israel. And it's the same shit that Nixon did to Vietnam protesters. And it's fucked up. It's not right. We're back into this Hoover McCarthyism type bullshit. And constitutional rights are just being stomped all over. And it's not right. I don't agree with agreeing with Hamas. Fuck Hamas. But someone still has the right to do it.
There hasn't even been any proof that he's actually tied to Hamas anyway. They just don't like him because
No. I mean, just saying that, like, chanting, yelling in a street, Hamas, I support, yelling, I could go out there and yell, I support Hamas, and
you have every right to say that.
Constitutional right.
And so does Mahmoud Khalil. And you could like,
and if he's involved in some terrorist organization and stuff, then fucking prove it in the due process in court through due process that is promised under the 5th and 14th Amendments for a green card holder.
The same way that you can run out into the street and say
Salem witch trials.
Corey, the same way you can run out into the street and say, I support Nazis. Like, look at what's going on with fucking Kanye right now, dude. This guy, as an American citizen, as is his right to free speech,
to be batshit crazy and racist.
Is fucking he's wearing goddamn swastika t-shirts on Twitter, trying to sell them. You know why? Because he's allowed to do that in a nation that supports free speech. And I don't like it. I'm not a fan of Kanye going out and doing that.
And we're
100%
not by his
He's an asshole. He's an absolute asshole. But Mahmoud Khalil needs to be deported because he's supporting Palestinians at Columbia University? Go fuck yourself. I'm not going to support this shit. And this is why I told my friends that are Trump supporters, I'm like, guys, go out and vote for him. I have no issue with it. I'm not going to judge you. You're not going to like not be my friend anymore, right? Because you voted for this guy. I get it. I get the fuck you vote. I get all that stuff. But it's this kind of shit right here that you and I sat right here in these seats that we're sitting in now and said, I can't do it. I can't.
Actually, I was in a different room.
But we both said we can't do it. We cannot pull the lever for this guy because we knew it was going to be shit like this. We knew shit like this was going to come down. And here it is. It didn't take long.
Not even 100 days in.
Yep. However, can we let you know what? We just shat on
Trump
had a little
bit
for a while.
Of a hard time for a minute in the beginning with Biden. He was so quiet.
And you know what? We shat on Trump for the last, 15, 20 minutes or so. Let's give him some credit for something because that's how we roll on this show.
What you got?
The ceasefire deal with Putin.
Okay. Yeah.
Because the way this is being talked about, we lost Bell, by the way. He had to go. the way this is being talked about on the left was that it just simply wasn't enough. We need to continue to support Ukraine against Vladimir Putin. We have to support them down to the last Ukrainian and down to the last dollar. He didn't end the war. I thought he was going to end the war. And it's like, yeah, he didn't end the war, but anything that gets us a little bit closer to peace is good. Am I an asshole for saying that? Like, I think you're on the same boat as me, Corey. I think this is one of the reasons we get along so well when we talk about politics is that, like, we just don't want war. Anything that gets us close to peace is good.
I got a kid that's turning 6 this year, and I don't want any bullshit war sucking up the next 20 years of our life to where my kid might have to go do it. That's all. Not for anything that is not worth it. Like now, like if my kid's 18 and say like Mexico gets a stick up their ass or something, they're like, that's it, we're invading. And we need to defend our borders. That's a whole different thing because that'd be something like, yeah, I'll go down there and do what I can.
You want the key points of the deal?
Yeah.
So a limited ceasefire. Both leaders agreed to a 30-day halt on attacks targeting energy infrastructure in Ukraine and in Russia. A broader peace talks negotiations for a full ceasefire and permanent peace are set to begin in the Middle East. Interestingly enough.
Yeah, I think it's Saudi Arabia.
Putin's demands are this. Russia requested an end to U.S. military and intelligence support for Ukraine as a condition for long-term peace. That hasn't exactly gone through as we speak here today. And no territorial agreements yet. There was no mention of how seized territories would be addressed, which we all know how they're going to be addressed. The Crimea is staying with Russia. The Donbass is staying with Russia. And certain other areas of eastern Ukraine are staying with Russia. That's the only thing this is the only way this was ever going to end. Corey, you could probably go back to our episode from 3 years ago when we talked about this. We knew Russia was always going to win this, even though we inaccurately predicted that Russia was never going to invade. Once they did, we always knew how this was going to end.
Yeah, I think in the very beginning we called they just want Crimea.
And to denazify Ukraine.
According to Putin. Denazify.
According to Putin. But it's like, man, you go and like, what do you see? You see, oh, there we go. Trump's just Putin's puppet again. It's like, it's just such a fucking dumb, just minimalistic way of looking at it. It's like, isn't peace good? No.
Right.
Because Orange Man, no, peace isn't, you know why peace isn't good, Corey? Because Orange Man bad. That's why.
Well, like I said before on this show, this whole fucking debacle might be Trump's fault.
It's partially Trump's fault.
Because he's the same way Ukraine offensive weapons, and they started popping shots at fucking Russia.
It's just the same way that inflation is partially Trump's fault.
Because he brags about it still. He's like, Obama just gave you sheets. I gave you javelins. And it's like, yeah, and those javelins are probably what made Russia want to actually invade.
It's the same. It's the same way we talk about inflation. Like, yeah, it's partially Trump's fault. He invoked the CARES Act. Like, it's like just like we talked about a little bit earlier in the show, Corey. It's all about when you think history started.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about when you think history started. Economics are that way. War is that way. Whenever you believe history started is what gives you the opinion that you have.
Most Americans are probably thinking week to week or bi-weekly based on checks. And then there's sometimes cataclysmic events that happen in the world that just become bookmarks. Like, like think about it. You know what I mean? October 7th, COVID, 9/11, financial crisis. There's just these major events that affects everybody that people use as bookmarks. And October 7th is one of them. And then that's when Israel became relevant to everyone. And that's when everyone started paying attention and becoming fucking experts on it overnight, and that's that.
Including us, Corey.
Yeah. I mean,
You got any-
we dove into it a little bit for context. Like, I don't claim to be an Israeli foreign policy expert, but it's easy to see just by reading a couple books of how like it all culminated under previous empires and kingdoms. Like, it's wild to think that less than like just over 100 years ago, like the whole world was still all just empires and kingdoms, and it's not like that anymore now. And like how vastly territorial lines shifted from World War One, and it led into issues and shit with World War II, and everything's just been spinning and wheels in the mud moving since then. And it seems like nothing has really stopped.
No, and everybody uses World War II as like this like statue of morality.
But
right?
World War II wouldn't have happened without World War One.
Right. And like and not even just that, but like the way World War II ended, the way it is portrayed in American history is that the good guys won and we stopped the Nazis. It's like, yeah, that's true. But it's not even half of the story. As in, like, the end of World War II didn't get us to this fucking utopia of like anti-fascism again. It didn't get us to this place where everybody lives in peace and harmony. You know, it's right. Like the way they talk about the Nazis invading Poland, right? Everybody knows that story, or at least anybody who's modestly interested in history. You know, 1939, the Nazis go in and invade Poland, and that's when England was like, yeah, we're not for that. But nobody ever talks about how whatever it was, 3 months later or 6 months later, the Soviets invade Poland from the east.
Right.
As if like we just don't even talk about that. And the whole agreement was for, you know, Poland to be split. Hitler makes the deal with Stalin. And then once he goes back on that deal and we team up with Stalin, that's when suddenly, weirdly, history begins. And not to mention, World War II ended, and then we just spent the next fucking 50 years battling communism because we teamed up with them. We teamed up with them in the first place. Like this whole idea that World War II is just like this bastion of morality that we have to stack everything on annoys the shit out of me. And I can even say that and look back and go, yeah, it's probably good World War II turned out the way that it did. I'm happy that like the Allies won, right? Like I don't think anybody looks back and goes, man, I really wish the Allies would have lost. I mean, I'm sure there are some people who think that, but like everybody's happy the Allies won, but it wasn't
commie and Nazis, brother.
It wasn't like this thing that put us in a place that gave the world peace. I mean, do you remember? Nobody remembers because nobody was alive. But do you know what they called World War One? Do you know what that war was called? The war to end all wars. I mean, like, if you go with that propaganda, if we go back even as far as that, like, we're just not close, guys. We're still to this minute just not that close.
And we're not much different than we were in the 50s or 60s. We haven't evolved that much in 50 years.
We're a little less racist, but yeah, I understand your point. Although we're not that much less racist according to people like Joy Reid, which is why she was blown out. But anyway, do you have anything else you want to discuss? Anything else at the top of your mind before we end the show? We're an hour and 34 in?
Nah, I think we're pretty good.
I did good.
Bell's the other one that looked into it for us, but the Tudor Dixon horror films.
Oh, I didn't. I had no clue.
Me neither.
I had no clue. Tudor Dixon did horror films. Is it okay for me to say that I still think she is just remarkably attractive?
Yeah, she's a pretty lady.
Yeah, she's
the stranded astronauts are home.
That's right. Biden used an auto pen. I honestly, dude, I hated that story. I hate that story because like all presidents use an auto pen. So it's like, how can you prove what you're alleging
warrant
here?
To it, like because like I would bet that it was absolutely used when he may not have been cognizantly aware.
I mean, I understand that, and I'm not even. I don't even disagree.
It's nothing I'm gonna lose sleep over because we know that the last like year, maybe even 2, maybe even 3 or 4 years of his presidency was all run basically by his administration and not him, and he was basically just a vessel. And that auto pen was probably used for a lot of things that he wasn't necessarily cognizant of. But you know what? It happened.
Not to mention, it's like since the president
America
uses an
wanted
auto pen,
that. America wanted that person because
that's what
they didn't.
This is what you voted for.
It's what Americans voted for. And you know what? And he at one point was probably so incoherent that the auto pen may have been used by his wife or his staff and stuff like that. And what are you gonna do? You're gonna go lock up an old man? Like, I don't know. The damage is done. The damage is done. The deeds are done. Move on.
Not to mention,
take care of.
If you can find a way to prove it, I think that's important. But how do you?
Yeah. If you could find a way to prove it, maybe some of those pardons could be challenged and stuff like that. It creates a whole different precedent, right? I mean, not a precedent, but like it does create a whole situation that like has to be put under a microscope. That might, because who knows, it might fucking happen in the future. We are in an uncharted constitutional territory by the day.
Why?
Now.
Why do you say that, Corey? Because we can't elect anybody under the age of 80 anymore.
I mean, I don't want to make that a rule, but I feel like Americans at this point learned their lesson. You know?
It kind of makes you miss the days of Bill Clinton.
Maybe you go down on her, dude. Don't be selfish. Don't be sexist.
Biden probably did use an auto pen. But I bet you my bottom dollar that there's going to be a story that comes out within the next 4 years that Trump's administration was caught using an auto pen for some bullshit.
Yeah. They all do it. They all do it. Most of the people where they can find the people where they can find us. Great.
Libservative podcast is found on all social media and podcast platforms. Our website is libservative.com. We can be found at Libservative on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Instagram and Twitter at LibservativePod. Our TikTok videos can be found at Libservative Podcast. And you can reach out directly at libservativepod@gmail.com. Subscribe today.
Yesterday,
yeah, you should have done it yesterday, obviously.
would be preferred. We lost Bell. Not to death. He didn't die. He just had to leave. So he was on the 1s and 2s tonight. He, as always, has been Corey Walsh.
He's Dan Griffin.
It's been Libservative, intellectual idiots fostering political and cultural literacy. And until next time,
We have white privilege.
and we are out of here.
Peace.
The great fundamental issue now before our people. We, the people, cannot turn back. Somebody must lead, or else the fight would not be made at all.